Welcome to Season 2, Episode 8. Again, check out our store, darkestnightpod.com. We have plenty of merch there, a brand new book, and our Spice Line Axiom Zero. Also, this week's episode is sponsored by
Blue Apron. Now, Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone.
all the meals you can make in 40 minutes or less. It's easy. It's
affordable.
All the meals are $10 per person or less. There's a ton to pick from, and they have great flexibility. So if you're like, hey, I'm going out of town in a month, don't need my Blue Apron that month, you just log in, say, hey, let's skip this delivery.
Listen, Blue Apron has established partnerships with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. And as a result, you have an opportunity to have some of the best food in the world. A couple of my favorites are creamy shrimp rolls with quick pickles and sweet potato wedges. But the chili butter steaks with Parmesan potatoes and spinach, ooh la la.
And this is top quality stuff. And they even have like this little poster card that comes with every box you get that has like a picture of the farmer and talks about like the lettuce they grew or whatever. And it's really cool. It puts a face on what you eat.
So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/darkestnight.
That's blueapron.com/darkestnight.
Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Roth Lobdow Center for Advanced Research. Project Cyclops, Day 17, about to begin. Entering the laboratory now.
Ah, Katie.
Dr. Ricketts.
Just finalizing some entries for yesterday's report.
Great. You know, speaking of yesterday, I went home last night and decided to watch some television to take my mind off work. Almost like a cruel joke, the only thing that was on besides reality television was Dracula.
Which?
I don't know. Black and white?
Lugosi. I'm more of a Christopher Lee fan myself.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard you express a preference for anything besides science, let alone something pop culture oriented.
There's a science to monster movies.
Well, science or no, the fact that we witnessed an act of vampirism,
Alleged vampirism,
kind of took the fun out of escapist viewing.
I read a book last night about cellular mutation.
Fun. What do we have today?
Male, looks to be early 40s.
Oh my god!
Excuse me?
This isn't possible. I know this person. They work for the center.
And this isn't the first time a subject has been associated with the center, as you so often like to point out.
This is different. I don't understand how the head today could be that head.
It was delivered just like the rest.
My point exactly.
Do you care to explain yourself?
No. I mean, yes, but first, I think we should dig into this. I want to make sure there aren't any facts I'm missing before I explain.
Okay.
Just trust me on this.
Have to hand it to you, Katie. For the first time since I started working here, you've piqued my curiosity.
It's about time.
Please proceed.
Project Cyclops Trial 7 Zeta 6. Timestamp is registering correctly. Initiating playback in 3, 2, 1. Initiate.
As far as coffee shops go, it was like any other. Too many people and not enough seats. For this last reason, it was the kind of place that Morgan generally tried to avoid. However, his distaste of crowds had recently been outweighed by an increasing feeling of loneliness. When he had signed up for the dating app to hopefully curtail the latter, he knew a visit to such a location was inevitable.
Do you know what you want?
What?
Morgan looked up from his phone to find a barista staring at him from behind the counter. The coffee worker gave him a kind smile, but also wore a look of urgency, suggesting to Morgan that he was holding up the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even get a chance to look at the menu.
Let me guess. A date.
How did you know?
Well, the way you were holding the phone, I figured you were comparing the people in here to a picture, trying to make a match.
Wow, you're good.
I ain't studying you. It's a coffee shop, so we get a lot of first dates. You know, when you see it daily, it's not too hard to ID. Beyond that, I wouldn't put too much faith in my detective skills.
Well, I'm still impressed.
Been a while?
Is it obvious?
Well, you didn't automatically rattle off demands for a complicated latte when I asked you what you wanted, so I'm assuming you haven't been to a coffee shop in a while. Intermittent coffee shop visits suggest intermittent dating in the city.
I think your detective skills are better than you think.
I bet you say that to all the baristas. You'll be fine.
Thanks.
Can I get something started for you while you wait?
Is that okay?
To have a drink in a coffee shop while you wait for someone? Yeah, I think that's allowed.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
On a date or ordering coffee?
Both.
Listen, I'll make it a decaf. Just have a seat and I'll bring it over to you.
What are you bringing?
A pleasant surprise, just like your evening will be. Now sit. I've got other customers with existential crises.
Thank you.
Sitting in the corner with his mystery drink, Morgan couldn't help but anxiously look at every new entrant through the shop's doors. His stomach knotted with anticipation. Just as he had convinced himself it was time to give up, the bell above the door rang out once more. And Morgan laid eyes on Kirby for the first time. As the young man stepped into the cafe, Morgan instantly felt ashamed that he had ever thought he could mistake anyone else for this handsome young creature. Kirby was a better version of his online photos, vibrant, full of life. Taking Kirby in, Morgan couldn't help thinking to himself,
This one will do.
There you are. I am so sorry I'm late. Those uptown buses, man, the ads say they're always on time, but if that's what they consider on time, then I'm the butchest guy in town. That was a joke. Well, unless you actually think I'm butch, well, then I'd just say you don't get out much.
Sorry, I'm bad at this.
Girl, we all are. Look at me. I just spew word vomit when I'm nervous. Let's start this again. Kirby.
Morgan.
A pleasure to meet you in the flesh and off the phone.
Likewise.
Were you waiting long? I am sorry again for being late.
No, not terribly long. I had a nice chat with the coffee maker person.
The barista?
Yes, that. By the way, when did we start giving fancy titles to these jobs? What's wrong with just being the coffee guy or the coffee girl? No shame in that.
Don't I know it? You know, they're not called bartenders anymore. They're mixologists.
No kidding.
Two things I don't kid about, boys and booze.
But no, I didn't wait long. I talked to the, barista. She made me this drink.
Oh, what is it?
I don't exactly know.
Let me see. It smells kind of basic.
I think she said it was decaf.
Oh, that's not just basic, that's mean. Look, why don't I go order us a couple lattes on me, since I was late, and save you from whatever this travesty is supposed to be. You're with me now. Live deliciously.
Indeed.
Be right back.
With you.
Minutes later, Kirby returned with complicated coffee drinks, the likes of which Morgan had never seen before. Over the course of the next hour, the duo talked about all manner of topics, trivial and mundane. The weather, the city, and pop culture personalities about which Morgan not so skillfully feigned knowledge. Although pleasant as time wore on, it became evident that there was a dangling, unspoken urgency between the two men. Finally, it was Kirby who broached the subject.
This has been fun.
Yeah, it has.
So? We did meet on a hookup app, not eHarmony.
Yes.
Are you going to invite me back to your place, or what?
Did you want to come back to my place?
If I didn't, I'd have left a long time ago.
I guess that's true.
It's also true that the only thing better than one orgasm is two.
Yes, we can go.
That's what I thought you'd say.
A short while later, Kirby and Morgan arrived at Morgan's mansion. Nervously, Morgan fumbled with the keys in the door, the anticipation of what was to come overwhelming him. Morgan's mansion, like the man himself, grand, empty, and without frills. Little to no decoration adorned the walls, and what furniture he did have was drab and uninteresting. Despite this, the place had a very lived-in quality. Scattered across the couch and end tables were an odd assortment of books, most with titles Kirby didn't recognize. Science texts, and novels about world history, the kind of material the younger man would admittedly do his best to avoid at all costs in his leisure time.
It's cozy.
Thank you. It's not much.
Well, for what we're about to do, we don't need much.
Right. Yes.
You seem kind of tense. I hope the coffee didn't make you too jittery.
It's fine. This just isn't my norm.
Well, we don't have to rush anything. In fact, it's more fun if we take it slow.
Oh, I suppose you're right. Maybe we should have a seat on the couch? Can I get you anything? A water or a tea or a...
There's only one thing I want.
Before Morgan even had a chance to respond, he could feel Kirby's warm fingers interlacing with his. It was a pleasant feeling, surpassed only by the kiss that followed.
You were saying about the couch.
Yes?
Silently, Morgan led Kirby to the couch, sweeping away several books that littered the cushions and knocking them to the floor. Together the two fell as one onto the sofa, entangled and lost to the moment.
Nice.
A short while later, Morgan woke with a snort from the casual nap he had fallen into. Kirby, still laying on top of him, dozed peacefully. Unable to resist the sleeping figure's vulnerable innocence, Morgan reached up and gently caressed Kirby's hair.
Hey.
Hey,
When did we fall asleep?
I'm not sure exactly, but it does happen after you expend a lot of energy.
Oh boy, did we.
Worth it.
For sure.
What?
I don't want to get up.
Come on, then don't.
I wish, but we did have a lot of coffee earlier. I want to stay put, but my bladder has some different thoughts.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
I think these are my pants.
You're getting dressed to go to the bathroom?
It's drafty in here.
Okay.
Bathroom?
Down the hall. Last door on the left.
Thanks.
Morgan watched as Kirby ambled off into the dark hallway. Once the younger man was out of sight, Morgan sat up, running his hands over his face as if to smooth out invisible wrinkles and to wipe the sleep from his eyes. Grabbing a remote control from the end table, Morgan lazily clicked on a dusty old television set as he rose and began to gather his clothes. Passively staring at the screen while he pulled on his pants, Morgan couldn't help but feeling content at the way the evening had progressed. Running down the hall, Morgan saw light spilling out of a doorway and instantly knew the evening was about to take a turn.
This is not the last door on the left.
What the fuck is going on?
The room that Kirby currently occupied, which was very much not the last door on the left, was a small, sterile space. Refrigeration fans mounted onto the walls caused a low humming noise to echo throughout and gave the room a strong, icy chill. Small shelves situated around the room's perimeter were packed with a truly garish inventory. Human heads, individually wrapped in a thick butcher's plastic and glaringly absent of their bodies. On the floor next to Kirby, one such head lay still, glaring up at both men with dead eyes. This was the source of the sound that brought Morgan running.
You're not supposed to be in here.
What is this? Did you kill these people?
Morgan leaned down and picked up the fallen head from the ground.
You shouldn't have touched these. They're mine.
Stay away from me! Somebody help!
Quiet!
Help!
Triggered by his internal fight or flight response, Kirby made a sudden mad dash toward the door. Hoping his momentum would be enough to take Morgan by surprise and allow him to escape the headroom and subsequently out of the house, this was a futile hope.
I said quiet!
Lunging at Kirby as the younger man attempted to squeeze by him and through the door, Morgan rocketed his open palm against the side of Kirby's head. The flat of Morgan's hand connected with Kirby, forcing the young man's head to slam against the door frame. Kirby hit the ground, unconscious, leaving a small red stain on the wall.
I didn't want to have to do that. But you made me.
For the second time that evening, Kirby found himself waking up on Morgan's couch. This time, the vague aroma of a completely different bodily fluid filled the room. The dull ache of Kirby's head was accentuated by the sticky, wet flow of dried blood caked around his eye. The aftermath of the wound he received when Morgan slammed him into the door jamb. Still, despite the pain, Kirby sat up with a start, as if waking from a nightmare. Sitting up, Kirby was greeted by a gruesome sight. On the end table next to the couch was the head he had knocked over in the other room, its dead eyes staring up at him. Immediately, Kirby turned his head to the floor and vomited. So much for all that coffee.
Are you throwing up because of the concussion or the head?
Both, I think. Did you kill those people?
No. I'm responsible for all of them, though.
What happens to the bodies?
I don't know. Compost? Science? Maybe someone eats them? That's not my business.
What do you mean, not your business?
I'm a head collector. I collect heads. I don't care what happens to the rest.
Don't you know where the bodies go?
Usually someone comes and gets them. I'm not the only one in this town with certain interests.
Jesus.
You're taking this very well.
No, I'm actually not, but you bashed my head into a wall. It's hard to express terror and nausea at the same time.
Oh.
I just wanted to go on a date. Maybe hook up with a guy, but not this. Not this. I just wanted...
A little head? Well, you got it. Sorry, I'm not good at jokes. You probably figured that out at the coffee shop, though.
You can't kill me. My friends, they know where I am. I told my friends I was coming here tonight.
You told your friends that you were meeting someone for a hookup date? That you had pointedly made plans to get fucked?
Oh my god! Oh god! Please don't kill me.
I was never going to kill you.
What?
But I can't let you leave.
I don't understand.
Well, maybe meeting people for a casual fucking run is a regular occurrence in your world, but it's certainly not in mine. When you do what I do, you lead a very solitary existence. And as you can imagine, it's very difficult to find people who understand. So all I really have is them.
Morgan pointed to the severed head on the end of the table.
And even most of them don't stay.
Most of them.
It's a long story. Another time.
Grabbing the severed head from the end of the table with one hand, Morgan turned and lifted it in front of Kirby's face.
And they just don't give the kind of affection I've been craving. Go on. Kiss it. You'll see what I mean.
No. No, please don't make me.
Kiss it! I want you to understand how my world feels.
Please don't make me.
Morgan slapped Kirby across the cheek with a forceful open palm. A blossom of colors exploded across Kirby's vision.
No, please, no.
Kiss it! Only then will you understand why I need you.
With no other choice, Kirby did as he was told, gingerly reaching up and taking the dead cheeks of the decapitated head into his palms. He pulled the head toward him. He found himself surprised by its weight. Morgan let go of the head, allowing Kirby to truly have a moment with the unwitting paramour.
Now.
God.
Now do you understand? This is why I need you. I want warmth. I want a response. Hell, I want a body.
Morgan stepped back to fully gaze upon Kirby. He looked imploringly upon the younger man as if he had just revealed some great truth.
What? What are you gonna do to me?
I'm keeping you. I knew from the moment I saw you, you were the one.
You can't force me to stay.
I'm not a fool, Kirby. I know no one would want this life. I don't particularly want it myself. But sometimes, when you draw straws, you get the short end. This is my lot. And I'm done doing it alone. You will stay here.
Are you going to hurt me?
No. But I am going to convince you. There's this new drug. We can even put it in one of those coffee drinks you like. Like from tonight. This drug, it'll make you want to stay. And then you can be with me, and I won't be alone.
You're going to drug me?
It's better than the alternative.
But what about my family? My friends?
You just saw your new family and friends in the other room.
No.
Now stand up. We're gonna get you cleaned up.
Defeated, Kirby began to rise, the nausea from his head wound still extraordinarily fresh.
Come on, you can do it. And here, give that to me.
At this, Kirby glanced downward, and possibly he had almost forgotten he was still firmly clutching the severed head with which he had shared an intimate moment mere seconds before.
Give it to me.
Locking his gaze on the dead eyes staring up at him, Kirby suddenly had a thought.
You can fucking have it.
What?
Pulling every ounce of his dwindling energy into one action, Kirby brought the decapitated head upward in a quick motion, smashing the dead man's face squarely into Morgan's. Blood blossomed from Morgan's nose, now broken from the corpse's headbutt. Reinvigorated, Kirby hit him with the head again. As Kirby watched Morgan fall, he saw his chance, dropping the head in his hands to the floor. Kirby made a mad dash toward the front door. Just as the young man thought he was in the clear, he felt the strong grip of Morgan's hand clasp around his ankle, pulling backwards and causing Kirby to fall to the ground. Blood gushing from multiple entry points on his face, Morgan climbed toward Kirby like a man possessed.
No!
Don't leave! You can't!
With no other choice, Kirby kicked out his leg, catching Morgan squarely in the face. This impact caused the older man to fall backward. Not wanting to make the same mistake twice, Kirby leaped on top of Morgan, pinning him to the ground. Grabbing Morgan by the hair, Kirby began to smash Morgan's head into the floor, over and over and over. Morgan's head was now cracked like an egg. His hot blood splashed all over Kirby, who still wore a manic expression from the adrenaline rush. And possibly, there was still a flicker of light in Morgan's eyes.
Fuck you.
Wobbly, Kirby stood, passively flicking Morgan's excess blood from his fingertips as he did so. Despite the icy grip of anxiety that still seized his chest, the young man couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Willing his feet to move, Kirby crossed to the front door, a journey of only a few steps that felt, to his beleaguered mind, like many miles. As he turned the knob and pushed his way to freedom, the young man couldn't help but think a singular dark thought. As far as first dates go, it could have been worse.
The storage of the heads in Morgan's house, that must mean...
Yep,
This is the head collector.
one and the same. And now I know his name is Morgan.
You knew him, but you didn't know his name?
It's a long story.
Intriguing.
And it's somehow even more complicated than I thought it would be.
Isn't it always?
If this is the head collector, then who brought his head? And what about Morgan saying he'd control Kirby, How much do you want to bet Morgan was actually talking about using Axiom Zero on him, Dr. Ricketts?
Katie,
You and I both know something's amiss. I need answers.
how do you know about Axiom Zero?
I don't know how to explain this, but
Yes, the drug we've been seeing is Axiom Zero. But we've never discussed that before.
it's been eating me up inside not to tell you, Dr. Ricketts, but...
Look, I can't give you answers. In fact,
Dr. Ricketts?
I'm afraid I'm about to make matters more complicated.
What? What do you mean? What is this?
You know what it is.
Yes, but I don't understand.
Well, in addition to the headhunter, I arrived this morning to find a second head. Odd, since Morgan here wasn't really available to deliver it, and I was left with the explicit instructions that you were supposed to perform another trial of Project Cyclops today. Alone.
Alone?
Yes.
Why? Whose head is this?
I want you to know that I believe you to be a capable scientist. This thing you've been asked to do, you can and will do, because it is necessary.
Dr. Ricketts.
I have to leave now, Ms. Reed. Before I go, allow me to say, whatever you see, proceed with caution. Good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you.
If you can't wait to listen to the next episode of Darkest Night, go to Shudder.com. Shudder is a new kind of streaming video service devoted to the best horror movies available from around the world. On Shudder, you can listen to Darkest Night ad-free, a week early, in lossless sound quality, and even receive exclusive access to bonus content like our behind-the-scenes podcast, Talkest Night. For a free month, go to Shudder.com and use the offer code Darkest Night. That's Shudder.com, offer code Darkest Night.